Melissa Johnson here, and I cannot hear myself. Hold on. I have my earbud in, so I cannot hear myself. Hello. Still not working. What is going on? Hold on, I'll just put my headset on. Hold on one sec. Hello. Sorry about that. For some reason, my earbud wouldn't connect. I'd rather have my earbuds, but that's okay. Okay. Hello, Melissa Johnson here for day 34 of Melissa Loves to Talk. Well, episode 34. Sorry about that. Not day, episode. Uh Thank you for joining me today. Today is Monday, January 26th, 2026. Today I am going to talk about ICE, but not necessarily how everyone else has been talking about ICE. Everyone's been talking about the shooting that happened over the weekend, but I'm not really going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about just ICE in general, what their job is, what they um are supposed to be doing, what they're allowed to do, and stuff like that. So, first, I did finally figure out how to get the video to work. Or not necessarily, I'm not going to play a video this time, but the screen so that I can show you what I'm reading instead of me reading it from my phone. Because for some reason, every time the computer logs off, it logs me out of everything. And every time we have to go back in and set everything back up. And we didn't know that. And that's why it kept not letting us back in. So sorry, all I have is a laptop because this is the most grassroots you can go. So I'm hoping to be able to get somebody together, have a little bit of a better setup, but this is what I got for right now. So we're pretty much just learning as we go how to get everything to work. So, okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just share what exactly ICE is and what their job is. And then we're going to talk about the immigration laws, sanctuary cities, and go from there. But that's where I'm going to start. Wrong thing. Sorry. Oh no. Clicked out of it. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Okay. So the United States Immigration and Custom Enforcement. Okay. They are law enforcement. It literally says Federal Law Enforcement Agency. Because the left wants to keep saying they are not law enforcement. They are law enforcement. They're federal law enforcement. Um, sorry. So they're a federal law enforcement agency under the United States Department of Homeland Security. Their mission is to conduct criminal investigations, enforce immigration laws, preserve national security, and protect public safety. ICE was created as part of the Homeland Security Act in 2002 following the September 11 attacks, which I did not know that ICE was started that soon. I thought it was older than that. So I'm learning something. Yay. Okay. It absorbed the prior functions of the Immigration and Naturalization Service and the United States Customs Service. Okay, that makes sense. So they just combine it two together. Okay. ICE has two primary and distinct law enforcement components: home security investigations and enforcement and removal operations. Okay. So that's their job. It has three supporting divisions: the Management and Program Administration, the Office of the Principal Leading Advisor, and the Office of Professional Responsibility. ICE maintains domestic offices throughout the United States and detachment at major U.S. diplomatic missions overseas. Okay, we're not going to read all of this. I'm just trying to... Okay, this is what I'm looking for. This is going to sum it up. Okay. Federal law enforcement agency under the Department of Homeland Security. ICE's statement mission is protecting America through criminal investigations and enforcing immigration laws to preserve national security and public safety. ICE enforces more than 400 federal statutes, focusing on customs violations, immigration enforcement, terrorism prevention, and trafficking. So trafficking, of course, is drugs, people. It's going to be, whatever people traffic. So I just wanted to really go through that they are law enforcement, considering the government and the mayor of our wonderful Minnesota and Minneapolis say that they are not law enforcement. They are law enforcement. They're actually federal law enforcement, so they overrule Tim Walz and Mr. Frey. So there you go. Okay, now we're going to look at the federal immigration, because again, people want to say we should just let anybody in here. Okay, so federal immigration laws in the United States are primarily governed by the Immigration and Nationality Act, which outlines the rules of the admission of the foreign nationals, their immigration statutes, and deportation procedures. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service provides information on various laws, regulations, policies related to immigration, including executive orders and court decisions. So executive orders is what Trump did to get this going further. And of course, decisions from the court, which would have to be, I would assume, the Supreme Court, because the federal judges and stuff, they're just corrupt. So you just have to go above their heads. And then details, legal text, you can refer to Title 8 of the U.S. Code, which codifies most immigration laws. Additionally, various acts of Congress and executive actions have shaped immigration policy over the years. And so there we have immigration laws for all the people. And it's federal immigration laws, not just you think that you're the mayor, you're the governor, and you can tell the president what to do. That's not the way it works. Okay. And then sanctuary city laws. Okay. So sanctuary city laws are local policies that limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement, aiming to protect immigrant communities and foster trust between residents and law enforcement. Now, I don't see where it says to protect illegal immigrants. So I'm pretty sure what they're doing is they're breaking the law. But again, nobody enforces it. So sanctuary cities are municipalities that adopt policies to limit or deny cooperation with federal immigration authorities. These laws are designed to protect immigrant communities by reducing the fear of deportation. encouraging individuals to report crimes, and allowing access to essential services without the threat of immigration enforcement. So, I mean, yes, it is for illegals because if you're illegally here, you aren't at risk to be deported. But it doesn't say that because that's where they want to get you. They want to get you to say, oh, well, they're here, you know, legally, but they're not. Because you wouldn't be in fear of deportation if you're here legally. Okay, so this is not really anything. I just wanted to kind of just say it, just in case people didn't know what they are. So sanctuary city laws represent a complex intersection of local governance, immigration policy, and community relations. They aim to create safer environments for immigrant population while navigating the legal and political challenges posed by federal immigration enforcement. Understanding these laws is crucial for grasping the broader implications of immigration policy in the United States. So I think really what this was originally for, by my understanding, by reading it, is it's more saying, okay, while you're going through the process, you may not have all the legal paperwork. You may not be here illegally, but so originally it was, okay, you're starting the process. You're not finished going through the process, but we're going to protect you. We're going to help you find services. So I think originally it may have been where they weren't really trying to be sketchy or help illegals. But then once, people started getting deported, then they're like, okay, we need actual sanctuary cities where we could have our voter base safe. Because that's what it's about. We all know that's what it's about. It's about keeping their voter base safe. It's not about they really care about these people. They do not care about them. They don't care about anybody but themselves. So that was the original. I think it was started for a good reason, but like everything, it gets manipulated. It gets, trying to think of the word, but kind of like, distorted to where we can have a sanctuary city because we're allowed to, but we're going to make it for illegals, which is illegal because, duh, they're here illegally. So you can't have a sanctuary city. Even though they do have sanctuary cities because they try to say, well, these people are undocumented. Okay, well, then they're illegal. Sanctuary cities are for people that are here legally trying to become legal. They're trying to get services to become legal citizens. This is what I'm understanding by reading it, is how it started. So like it started as a good thing per se, and they, of course, took advantage. Give them an inch, they take a yard, So it was like, okay, well, we're going to do this awesome thing. We're going to have cities that help immigrants get all their services, do all this good stuff for these people so they don't have to fear because they don't have all their paperwork yet. Okay, these were probably people that were working on getting their paperwork, even though you should still have some kind of paperwork to show someone so you can't get deported. But I don't know all that stuff. But I feel like the way it's worded, they did it to make it be a good thing. And maybe that just was for the wording. And it never was a good thing. But I'll take it like, okay, they were trying to do something good. And then someone abused it. Someone was like, well, this is already a sanctuary city. We'll just make it for undocumented also. So if you want to come here illegally, we're going to protect you. So just come to sanctuary cities. Where I feel like in the original, again, It could have been always sketchy. I don't know. By the wording, it makes it sound like it was legit. You know, people are nervous when they come here, even if they have their paperwork. You know, if you think about it, like we went on a missions trip. The whole time we had our paperwork, but we were still nervous. We were there legally. You know, we had a visa, we had our passports, but we were still nervous. So maybe originally it did start off as okay, people come here, they're nervous. They can come to these cities where we will help them. Again, I could be just thinking the nice. I could be like, oh, well, maybe they had good intentions. Okay. And then someone came along and changed it and didn't have good intentions when they realized, hey, we can import these people and they can be our voter base. I'm not sure. I'm just going by what I read. It sounds like it started as a good thing and then it got manipulated. Not sure. It could have just been that's the way they put the wording to make it pass. Because you can't say, okay, well, we're going to have sanctuary cities for illegal immigrants. Well, you can't say that because they're illegal. So, no, we can't do that. So, we have to say we're just going to have sanctuary cities for immigrants to come and we can help them. And then it got to be, well, now they're undocumented, which they're illegal because they don't have documents. Like I said, we went to another country, we had a visa and our passports with us, and we were still nervous. So I get if you come here, even if you have your documentation, I get you could still be nervous. Okay. Especially if you listen to the mainstream media that's going to say, oh, ICE is going to deport you. Okay. ICE is only going to deport you if you don't have your paperwork. Okay. They're not going to come after you if you're legally here. If you have paperwork saying you have a visa, if you have a green card, you know, you're not going to get deported because you have your documentation saying that you're here legally. There's a lot of different steps to become a citizen. So you have to start somewhere. So as long as you have a paper saying that you are legally supposed to be here, you have an ID, you have a birth certificate, and you have a document, a visa, a green card, whatever, to get in this country, you're not going to be deported unless you break the law. So if you come here and you decide, oh, well, now I'm here legally, so let me start selling drugs. Okay, now you're breaking the law. So even though you're here legally, you can get deported because you're not being a citizen that we want here. We don't want people coming here to sell drugs. We have our own drug dealers that we have to deal with. We don't want people coming from other countries doing it. Okay? So don't come here and do that. If you want to come here legally, be a good citizen. Come here, get a job, pay your taxes, buy a house. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with you coming here legally. Guess what? My family came here from Germany in the late 1800s. Okay? They did it the right way. There's documentation. You can look it up showing all their visas and stuff that they had. You can go on ancestry.com and look up their paperwork. Okay? That's how I know when they came here. They came here in like 1888 or 1899. I can't remember. 1889, sorry. So that's some of my family. Mostly all my family came from Germany, my mother's side and my father's side. Very weird. But anyway. And again, they came in the late 1800s, like 1889, something like that. 1890, something like that. But again, you can see their paperwork saying they came here legally. So I am all for them coming here legally, or I would have been born in Germany. And I am so glad I was born in Germany. I'm glad I was born in this country because this is the greatest country in the world. And I'm so thankful to be here. I love this country. And this is why I do this. I fight for this country the way I can, you know, the way I know how right now. Okay. So I will say this about what's going on in Minnesota. Okay. Okay. The shooting, I'm not really going to talk about, except for you are allowed to carry, um, if you have, a permit or whatever. Where I live, it's constitutional carry, so you can carry all the time. It doesn't matter. I get where other states, you have a permit. Okay. He had a permit. He was allowed to have a gun. Not saying you can't have guns when you're protesting. Okay. I've been to a lot of protests where people carry, because again, it's constitutional carry where I live. So people are carrying all the time when we're at protest. Not one time has someone got shot. Not one time has someone got maced. Not one time has someone got tased at any protest that I've ever been. And I've not been to a lot, but I've been to enough. And that's never happened. Okay. Again, because this doesn't happen in places that are ran, I'm going to say, in red areas. Okay. I won't say that. I did go to a protest in blue areas. But again, we were the good people protesting. So we were not doing that stuff because we went to Rome, Georgia, which is, I guess, technically red, but it is blue. Okay. I guess it's purple. And then Knoxville, Tennessee, the same thing. It's, yes, we have Tim Burchett, which we love, but I will say that's probably a purple area also. Anyway, what we were doing was, actually both times, that's kind of funny. Both times it was, protesting against drag queen story time. And we were very peaceful. The police stood there and they just told us to get back if we were in the street, because you could go so far into the street because it was like a pull up and let people out area. So we would go that far. And then if we get too far into the street, they're like, back up, back up. We just backed up. We didn't stand in the middle of the street trying to block traffic. We didn't do any of that. All right, back up, get up against the curb or get up on the sidewalk. You're gonna get hit by a car. That's literally what they said to us. Back up. We don't want you to get hit by a car. And they were standing with us. They were protecting us and saying, make sure you don't go across the street, because of course, across the street in Knoxville, it was a Christmas, drag queen story time. And they were all in line waiting to get in. And so they were over there and they were yelling and screaming at us, cussing at us. And we were just standing there. We had our signs. We did have some music playing. We had Pastor Locke was there. He was preaching a little bit. And we were being very peaceful. We were not yelling and screaming and throwing stuff at them. And they weren't even doing that to us. They were yelling and cussing at us and saying vulgar stuff about Jesus. But they were not throwing stuff at us and stuff like that. When I went to Atlanta and we were, actually where I was on January 6th, I was in Atlanta Capitol, not DC. And we were standing there. We had our signs. People were throwing trash at us. People were spitting on us. People were cussing at us, giving us the finger. And we just stood there. We weren't even saying stuff back. And there wasn't any police around, but we did have some like military that were, reserves or whatever. They were with us, making sure we were okay, and nothing happened. We just stood there. And again, they had a whole artillery. They had all kinds of weapons. And I'm sure people that I was standing with probably was carrying. Again, constitutional carry. They were all carrying. They didn't shoot at anybody. Nothing crazy happened. Okay. And then also, that's why I said, going to a protest, yes, you're allowed to carry. If you have a permit in areas where you need a permit, which I think is absurd. I think you shouldn't have to have a permit at all. It should be constitutional carry. I'm against permits at all. I think you should just be constitutional carry. So yes, you can carry when you're protesting. Again, in a state where you have to have a permit, you have a permit, which he did. He had a carry card, no big deal. Okay. But be smart. Don't come up and antagonize ICE, police, another person when you're carrying, especially law enforcement when you're carrying, because it could go bad. And that's what happened. Now, mind you, this is not the first thing that's happened. This is actually the third person that's been murdered. Well, killed. Not really murdered, but killed in Minnesota, which is, to me, just crazy because there's ICE agents all over the country enforcing the immigration laws, and that's not happening. But it's only happening in Minneapolis. So I'm not really sure because you're in other blue cities. They're in Chicago, they're in LA, they're in Houston, Dallas. They're in blue cities. And this is not happening. Even in LA, it's not happening. But it's happening in Minneapolis, which makes you wonder why. Why is all this happening? It's happening because of the fraud was exposed. So they're trying to take away from the fraud. They think if we keep doing this and pushing this, they'll stop investigating the fraud. Just so you know, they're not going to stop investigating the fraud because they keep finding more. It's up to almost $50 billion. Okay, that's a lot of money. I don't have $50, let alone 50 billion. Okay, so in my opinion, this is why it's happening there, is because they're trying to distract from the fraud because it's not happening in other cities. You don't have other mayors and other governors saying, fight ICE, go out there, fight them, do whatever. If they don't belong here, get the F out of our city. You don't belong in our state. No other cities doing that. Now, the mayor in Chicago did do that, but he stopped. He stopped doing it, or at least I haven't seen it anywhere where he's saying it. I think he just started complying because he had so much pushback from his constituents. I mean, they were going to the town meetings and they were saying, we want ICE, we want ICE. So I think he probably backed off a little bit. I mean, I'm sure there's craziness. You know, they're probably blowing whistles. They're probably blocking traffic. They're probably doing all that, but they're not attacking the ICE agents. As far as I know, I'm sure we would hear about it. I don't hear anything going on crazy in these other blue cities. Portland, I don't hear. Again, you could probably watch videos. They're doing stupid stuff. The whistles drive me literally insane. I don't know how they deal with it because just listening to it for the 2-second video that I'm watching, if it's like 2 minutes, I'm turning it off. I can't listen to the whistles. I don't know how they deal with it. I would just literally tase you so you stop blowing the whistle. Honestly, the whistle is so annoying. And they do that on purpose to be annoying. I get it. And it's working because I'm annoyed. I mean, I'm going to be honest. This is why I'm not law enforcement, because I'd tase them just because they're blowing the whistle. I'm going to be honest. So good for the law enforcement that's not doing that, because that's what I would do just to make them stop blowing the whistle. So they are federal agents. They have a right to be there to enforce federal laws. Okay. I think I have the federal immigration law pulled up. Let me see. I thought I pulled it up where it literally said the exact law, but I guess not. Oh, here we go. Okay. I thought I had it pulled up. Okay, so 1876 U.S. Supreme Court case Chai Lung versus Freeman. Sorry if that's not how you say it. Established the power of the U.S. federal government to set and enforce rules regarding immigration. The Immigration Act of 1891 created a commissioner of immigration in the Treasury Department In 1903, immigration was transferred to the purview of the Department of Commerce and Labor. And after it split to 1913, oh, something else had happened in 1913 to the Department of Labor. The Immigration and Naturalization Service was established in 1933. Okay, and then we did that. I just want to find out exactly if it says exactly what the immigration law is. The Immigration and Naturalization Service under the Justice Department and the United States Customs Service under the Treasury Department were dissolved in March 2003. And the Homeland Security Act 2002 was made. Trying to see where it actually says what the actual law is. See if I can actually look that up. Let's see if this is it. Okay, national immigration law encompasses the rule and regulation that dictate how individuals from other countries can enter, reside, and potentially become citizens of a nation. The United States, the primary legislation governing immigration is the Immigration Nationality Act, enacted in 1952. Okay, here we go. So, permanent immigration allows individuals to live and work in U.S. permanently. This includes family-sponsored immigration, employment-based immigration, and humanitarian protection such as asylum and refugee statuses. So, of course, this is stuff that is okay because they're coming here. They got family-sponsored immigration, employment-based, which is would be visas, and then asylum and refuge status. Um, Now, this does say it's permanent. Hmm. I didn't know that. I thought it was temporary if you had that, but okay. The law and then temporary immigration. The law also allows provisions for temporary visas, which allow federal nationals to enter the U.S. for specific purposes such as tourism, study, temporary work. So that would be the visas. And then enforcement and removal provides the framework for immigration enforcement, including the authority to detain and remove individuals who are in the U.S. without authorization or have violated immigration laws. This includes border enforcement and internal enforcement measures. Naturalization, of course, that's how you become a U.S. citizen, including residency requirements and naturalization application process. Okay, so this is why it's hard to get people out of the country when they come here for asylum and refugee because they're technically um permanent, but they're not citizens. So to me, I feel like they should still be able to get well, they can if they break the law, I'm assuming. So yeah, I could look up all the other stuff. I guess maybe I'll do that later because it talks about citizenship, green cards, stuff like that. Um see. So it gives me something else. Hmm. So, I mean, that's a whole bunch of other stuff to look into. But so it doesn't really necessarily isn't really very, I don't know how to say it, but clear. I guess it's not very clear on the immigration laws. I guess that's the problem we're having right now, is because the immigration laws are very vague. I feel like to me they're vague unless you do like a deep dive. Like I'd have to look at every single thing. Like I'd have to read all of this and figure that out. So either way, you have to have paperwork. Either way. Okay. So not having paperwork makes you illegal. Okay. Not undocumented, illegal. Okay. Because all of this saying is saying that you have to have paperwork. You can't just walk in here. Okay. All this says you have to show. Um, okay. So I'll come back to me for a sec. Okay. So there's a lot of different ways to get in this country. So it's not like you have to really cheat the system to get here. You don't really need to come here illegally because there's so many ways. I just showed you at least 5 or 6 ways to legally come here. So I'm not really sure why people insist on coming here illegally. And why do you want to live in fear of being deported? Like, like these, like Tim Walz said yesterday. I'm being nice. I'm saying his name. Um, I think it was over the weekend sometime. I don't know exactly when, but he was saying, people are afraid, kids are hiding in their houses. Well, if you weren't here illegally, you don't have to be afraid of being deported. Or if the mayor and governor wouldn't tell them to be afraid, they're going to get deported. If you're here legally, you have no reason to be afraid. You have no reason. You have paperwork. It's like if they come knock on my door and say, "Can you prove you're a citizen?" Okay, I have a birth certificate. So I'm going to go get my birth certificate and I'm going to show them my birth certificate. I'm not going to be afraid because they knock on my door. Well, yeah, I have a birth certificate that says I was born in Baltimore, Maryland. I was born in the United States. Okay. So I have proof that I was born here. If you are here legally, you're here for asylum, you're here as a refugee, you're here with a visa, you're here with a green card, you have paperwork for that. So you have no fear to be deported unless you did crimes while you were here. Then, even if you're here legally, even if you have a green card, even if you have, I listed all the other things, even if you did that, but you decided, I want to be a pedophile now. So I did disgusting things to children. Well, now you can get deported. Because why would we want you in our jails and our tax dollars have to pay for you to be in jail? You came here. We let you come here by the goodness of our heart. We let you in, helped you, whatever, and you broke the law. So, yes, unless you're a naturalized citizen, you're going to get deported. Why wouldn't you? I mean, to me, it just makes sense. Again, a naturalized citizen, totally different. It's a whole different process. You're probably just going to go to jail here because to denaturalize someone is very difficult. You have to prove that they became a citizen by lying and cheating the system. I think that's the only way that you can be denaturalized. That's why we're having a problem with Ilhan Omar or whatever her name is. Like, we can't really do much with her because she's naturalized. We would just literally have to arrest her. I don't think we can deport her. I'm sure there's probably ways around it. Sure, there's loopholes. Everything has a loophole. So I'm sure there's ways around it. But anyway, just come here legally and you don't have to worry about ICE knocking on your door. You don't have to worry about being afraid to go to school, being afraid to go to work, being afraid to go to the grocery store. If you come here legally, you don't have anything to worry about. If you come here legally, don't break the law once you're here. Okay. I mean, these are just common sense things. I'm really not understanding. Okay. So now the fun part, the people that these people are trying to protect. This is the fun part. I've been telling anyone that's been watching for the last couple episodes that there's a website you can go to, www.dhs.gov/wow. It's the worst of the worst. I'm going to show some of the worst that people are protecting to try to keep these people in our country. Okay. Number one, they came here illegally. So they broke the law when they got just to get into the country. Sorry. And then when they got in the country, they broke our laws. Okay. So, okay. You broke the law getting in here. Why be stupid enough to break the law after you're here? Because you're probably not going to be the focus of being deported if you don't break the law once you get here. They're not exactly going after citizens, even if you're here illegally, they're not just knocking on random doors of illegals. They have a list of people that have been already in jail, convicted, and released so that they wouldn't get deported. Okay, because this is what the sanctuary cities and states do: is you get convicted, you do a couple months, they let you out back into the community so that you don't get deported. And these are the people that they're trying to arrest. They're trying to get these people that have already been convicted. Plus, there are people that are still in jail that were convicted that are illegal. So you're illegal, plus you broke the law and you were convicted and you're sitting in our jail and our tax dollars are paying for you to be in our jail. So most of the cities that they're going into, they're getting the people out of the jails. That's why they're not seeing all of the stuff going on like in Minneapolis, because the city's cooperating, they're going in, they're getting the people out of the jails. Because why are our tax dollars going to pay for illegals? We've already paid for the illegals while they were here. Before they were put in jail, they were probably getting free assistance. They were probably getting all kinds of help, our tax dollars. Okay. So I'm going to show you some of these people, and I'll show you how the website works in case you want to look the website up so you can see exactly how it works. I mean, I kind of think everybody should do this, just number one, because honestly, if you look up people that have been convicted in your area, you could be like, oh, there's 55 people in my area. Maybe I should call ICE and tell them to come here because there's 55 illegals that are pedophiles. Just saying. So I'm going to show you it. Okay. So this is what it comes up. Okay. Matter of fact, I'll just show you the couple that's on the front of the screen. Okay. This is just broad. I guess this is just the front of the screen. So this is a person from Somalia. They were arrested in Minneapolis. Shocking. Okay. So they were convicted of criminal sexual conduct, 4th degree, of a victim that was 13 to 15 years old. So a pedophile. Okay. This person is from Laos. They were arrested in St. Paul, Minnesota. Okay. Again, another bad area in Minnesota. Assault, aggravated assault, non-family weapon. I don't know what that means. Aggravated assault weapon, threat, terroristic state offenses. Again, don't know what all that means, but either way, assault, which is violence, and then terroristic offenses. Like, we don't want this guy here. Get him out. Okay. So these are people that they're protecting on the streets in Minneapolis and in Minnesota. Okay. This one is he was convicted in Moose Lake, Minnesota, sexual assault. This guy was convicted in, well, he was just arrested. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Looking at the wrong thing. This guy was convicted of assault and homicide in Leona Lakes, Minnesota. I'm not going to try to say their names. Okay, this guy was convicted of assault, aggravated assault, and had a gun. He's an illegal. They're from Laos. Again, somebody was like, there's a lot of people from Laos coming in here. Okay, the one guy's from El Salvador, Mexico, Laos. Okay, now look at this guy. He's got a couple different convictions. Okay, he's from Laos, convicted of homicide. He literally killed somebody and was convicted. You are protecting him? Stolen property, stolen vehicle, assault, homicide, willful kill, non-family weapon. I don't know what that means. But he's in a gang. These are the people they're protecting. He was in Minneapolis. Okay. Here we go. These have a whole bunch. Vietnamese. He is Vietnamese from Vietnam. He was convicted of carrying prohibited weapon. Again, he's an illegal. He can't carry. Possession, stolen vehicle, sex assault, possession of weapon, rape. He was convicted already. They're protecting him. This guy's from Cuba. He was convicted of amphetamine, cell, domestic violence, dangerous drugs, cocaine possession, possession of a weapon, probation violation, and assault. These are the people that they're trying to keep from being deported. Why would you want to? I mean, look how many sexual assaults. That's insane. Okay. So we're going to go to where you can look up. Okay, we don't want any specific. We're just going to go by state. So I'm going to put in Georgia just because I'm very curious. See what comes up. Okay, so this guy's from Cuba. He is convicted of cocaine smuggling in Jessup, Georgia. I'm not sure where that is. And this one is Mexico. Possession of a weapon, possession of stolen property, amphetamine possession. Gainesville, Georgia. I know where that is. That's not that far from me. Okay, this one is Nigeria. Aggravated assault, a gun, compounding crime. Don't know what that is. Atlanta, Georgia. Again, an hour and a half from me. Okay, this guy's from El Salvador, burglary. Not as bad. Okay, not saying it's great, but not that bad. Okay, he still should be deported. Okay, this guy was from Guatemala, convicted of assault, driving under the influence of liquor. Okay, assault, violence. Cartersville, Georgia. Again, about an hour. I think it's about an hour from my house. Okay, Mexico, homicide. He is literally convicted of killing someone, and they're protecting him. Now, it's Georgia. They're not doing all the stuff they're doing in other places. Again, it's Georgia. I have seen a couple protests, but not rioting. Okay, they've had some kids walk out of their school. They've had some people protesting and stuff in Atlanta. Again, not rioting because they're not going to deal with it. Okay, they're not going to let that happen here. But you still have people that are walking out of schools, rioting. I mean, not rioting, protesting to save these people from being deported. And they've done this stuff. Okay. This one, Nicaragua, he was convicted of smuggling cocaine, which it's not violent, but he's smuggling drugs. We don't want drugs. Okay, this guy's from Mexico. He was convicted of abduct, no ransom, or assault. So I guess he kidnapped someone. Don't know why it's called that. Again, I don't know where Jessup or Lumpkin is. I'm not really sure how far away that is from me, but there's quite a few people that are from Jessup and Lumpkin. This one is interesting. So he's from Guatemala and he was smuggling aliens. So what kind of aliens? The green ones? Or was he smuggling illegals? Interesting. Okay. This guy's from Mexico. He was obstructing justice. Again, that's not violent, but I'm not sure what it means. I'm guessing he was hiding evidence. Not sure. Okay. He's in Atlanta, of course. That's a hour and a half from me. Okay. And this one is Guatemala, also drugs. This one was driving under the influence of alcohol and traffic offense. Well, you're driving under influence. You probably were speeding, running red lights, running stop signs, whatever. Okay. So this is just, I mean, this is not as bad as the ones that are in Minnesota. Not saying they should be here. Of course, I'm not saying that. They're bad people. They're here illegally. Okay. This does actually say the U.S. Department of Homeland Security is highlighting the worst of the worst. Criminal aliens arrested by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So this is, again, under Secretary Noem's leadership, the hardworking men and women of DHS and ICE are fulfilling President Trump's promise and carrying out mass deportation, starting with the worst of the worst, including the illegal aliens you see here. So again, this is all illegal aliens that came in here and did this stuff. So they were illegal. They already broke the law to get here, and then they broke the law while they were here. And these are the people that the protesters, the rioters, the psycho left is protecting. I just can't comprehend it. I guess I never will, just because I have a brain. I have common sense. I mean, I don't know. I mean, anyone have something they want to say about it? What do they think? Would they protect these people? I can't imagine anyone that's watching me right now would protect them. Because I'm sure if you didn't agree with me, you would have already turned me off or sent me a whole bunch of nasty stuff in my chat. So I'm assuming you're not supporting this either. I actually was trying to find out where the ICE facility is close to me. All the ones that people keep telling me are like 5 hours away, because I was just going to go there to show my support for the ICE agents. I was going to do the opposite. I was going to do the good stuff. Have signs say, "We love you, ICE. God bless you, ICE. Thank you, ICE." Take them some coffee. Take them some donuts, you know? Do the good stuff for these poor ICE agents that get stuff thrown at them. You know, I mean, they're throwing frozen water bottles at these people. Can you imagine walking the streets trying to keep people safe and they're throwing frozen water bottles at you? I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever been hit with a frozen water bottle, but I've had one drop on my foot and it hurts. So I can only imagine what it feels like if it's thrown at you and actually hits your body. I mean, completely absurd that they're there to protect you, to keep these psychos out of your community, and you're attacking them for helping you. So, anyway, if anyone lives in Northwest Georgia or southern, I guess, what is it? Southwest Tennessee, and knows where a close ICE facility is and wants to go with me to show support, I'm ready whenever you are. Yeah, so like, you know, Chattanooga area, and then North Georgia would be, you know, Ringgold, Lafayette, areas like that. I would go about 2 hours. 5's a little bit much for me, because then I feel like I'd have to get a hotel room and spend the night, and that's money that I really don't have to spend. But I would do it if it was a whole bunch of us and we were sharing. So southeast, right? I don't know why I said west. Probably because it's northwest Georgia. So I'm thinking west, but it's actually East Tennessee. Um, so anyway, if anyone is interested in that, I can do a little bit of research. Again, I just asked some people if they knew where the ICE facility was, and they were telling me Savannah, which is 5 hours away. That's all the way on the east coast of Georgia. So that's too far for me. I don't know where the one is in Tennessee. That's, again, probably to me, I guess, roughly the same amount of time because I don't know why they're not closer. Like you would think that they would have maybe two in each state, especially in a bigger state. Because Georgia and Tennessee, they're not huge states, but they're bigger states. So you would think that they would probably have two facilities. But again, right now, they're not deporting or arresting a whole bunch of illegals in this area. They're in the cities and the states that have a whole bunch of illegals that are doing really, really bad things. Again, the stuff that I showed you is bad, but it's not as bad as I didn't see in the little couple people, there wasn't pedophiles, at least the ones that I looked at in Georgia. Again, in Minnesota, yes. I didn't keep going. There was quite a few pages. I could probably keep going, and it probably would have been some pedophiles, which are probably the ones that they were going after in Atlanta, and that's why they were protesting in Atlanta. I don't know. I haven't done that much research because there's just so much going on. It's so hard to keep up with all the stuff that's going on. So, not really sure. But that's kind of what I would like to do. Again, it's really cold right now, so don't want to necessarily stand out and protest. Well, not really protest. We're not protesting because we're going to be supporting, not protesting. But right now it's like 20. I don't really want to stand out in 20-degree weather. Not unless I was making $1,500 a week like these people in Minnesota. But I'm doing this for free. So I don't really want to stand out in 20-degree weather right now. But maybe in maybe a couple weeks it might warm up, and maybe that'll be something I might try is to find a closer ICE facility and just go show support. And I'm sure if I bring it up to some people and post some things about it, I'm sure there are people that would love to go do that. So that is kind of what I'm hoping. Just all the videos that I see about all the things that happen to the ICE agents and Border Patrol, because I forgot to say Border Patrol and I didn't say them, and they said, oh, that was Border Patrol, not ICE. Sorry, ICE and Border Patrol, because they both are in Minneapolis and they're both having a lot of bad stuff happen to them. Okay. Meanwhile, the National Guard is handing out coffee, hot chocolate, and donuts to the rioters. So, really not understanding that either. Again, I don't know. I don't live there. I don't know anything about that. I would never go to Minnesota. It's way too cold. It's way too far north. There's no way. About as far as I go is Maryland, and that's just because that's where I'm from and that's where my family lives. I was going to go to Vermont with my one friend because that's where she's from. She goes there sometimes to visit family. I didn't get to go with her because she went a time when I couldn't go. But in the winter, I don't think I want to go with her in the winter. Maybe the spring, summer, it might be nice. But right now, no way. No way. How people live in that weather, I just can't understand. Baltimore was cold enough. These places are like, I think they were saying it was like 10 below, which in Maryland, it gets that cold. There was times it was 17 below. I remember my hair would be frozen. all of it would just be like, you know, crunchy, crunchy, crunchy because it was frozen. So it does get that cold in Maryland, just not a lot. Where, like, in Minnesota, it's going to be that way the whole winter, I'm sure. So, no, thank you. I will stay away from that. I like here, it, like, again, like I said, I think it was like 24 today, 26, depending. It went up and down. Um, but it won't stay that way. You know, it'll be back in the 30s, maybe in the 40s, probably next week. It won't stay cold, thank God, because I am not a big fan of the cold. So we'll see. It's supposed to be 7 tonight. So I will be in bed, but I do have to get up for work tomorrow. So it'll probably be pretty cold in the morning. Um, but anyway, I thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to pretty much just give my opinion and some facts about ICE. And um, I kind of did my research with you on the immigration laws and stuff, and it's starting to get dark, and I see how dark I am. Sorry about that. I can't reach the light. Um, Earlier it was really bright, and so I turned the light off, and now I'm getting really dark. I don't know. I don't think so. Everybody I talked to or listened to, they were saying that they were given the donuts and the hot chocolate to the actual protesters. So I don't know. Again, I don't know. I'm not there. And of course, people say different things. So if it's for the people that are protecting people, that's fine. But um I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I'm starting to get really dark. So I'm gonna get ready to get off here because it's getting ready to dark outside. So the only light right now I have is coming in my window because my light's too far away for me to reach. So thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Please like and share. And if you have anything that you again want me to talk about, if you want to comment later, because you hated everything I said, or you loved everything I said, that's fine. Either way, I'll take both. I have been called racist all weekend because I was saying I supported ICE. So typical. Um, anyway, don't really care. But thank you so much for watching. I will not be back on till Friday. Today's Monday. So my next day on will be Friday. And again, I have no idea what I'll be talking about, but I will have something to talk about. And I thank you so much for watching. Please like and share. Please comment. And I hope that you have a blessed evening. If you live where it's cold, please stay warm and don't go outside unless you have to, especially in areas that's negative degrees. Thank you so much, and I will see you Friday.